I'm James,
And I'm Emily.
and we show you our actual weight loss journey with the keto lifestyle.
Make sure you check us out on Instagram and Facebook, but most importantly, don't forget to get ready.
Set.
Keto.
We're going carnivorous.
We are.
Is it carnivorous me?
Or carnivorous me?
Or is it carnivorous her?
Carnivorous me.
Either way, we get to sit down and talk to Amanda from Carnivorous Me, and that's coming right now.
Okay, so we are super excited for this opportunity to talk to Amanda, aka Left Brain, aka Carnivorous Me. And James reached out to Amanda secretly because he knew how much I adored her so much and watching her journey. And first, I want to say thank you so much for joining us and doing this interview with us, Amanda. And
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me.
super excited. And I feel nervous. Okay, so if anybody out there doesn't know you, can you kind of introduce us or introduce yourself to everyone and as well as your channel?
Yeah, sure. So, my name is Amanda. I started Carnivore on June 28th, 2022. At that point, I was 32 years old, having to use a rollator walker because I could not walk more than 100, no, a couple hundred feet at the time. I was 360 pounds and I had 16 comorbidities at the time, including type 2 diabetes, fatty liver. I have 3 autoimmune issues, scleroderma, fibromyalgia, and rheumatoid arthritis. That all kind of led to where I had gotten. And my channel is just all about documenting doing carnivore and going from being morbidly obese to healthy.
That's awesome. Can I ask you who introduced this way of eating to you?
My brother had actually been doing it for about a year and a half, and he kind of pestered me about it. After I went to the emergency room, I believe on the 26th or 7th of June last year,
Mhm.
I pulled up some videos by Michaela Peterson and she was talking about her juvenile RA and things like that. And that's when it clicked. It's like, all right, my autoimmune stuff has made things worse and it's allowed me to get where I'm at. So if this can help her, then possibly it can help me.
Absolutely. Now, I know that you talked about your brother in the past, and I believe that was who you said introduced you to a certain potato diet in the past too.
Yes, he he's been but here's a funny thing. I am out of the 3 of us, I have a 4th sister, she's older, but she lives across the country. Um, Out of my brother, my middle sister, and myself, I'm the youngest. My brother and middle sister, they are binge eaters, but they've maintained it by exercise and things like that.
Right.
I just got sick and didn't. He has been this one to try all of these just off the cuff, out of the blue diets. And yes, he did convince me and Scott to eat white boiled potatoes for a few months to lose weight. I did lose weight because I couldn't stand the idea of eating another potato.
Oh, so this was the same brother that introduced you to carnivore?
Yes, yes.
Wow, that's awesome.
Is he still doing?
He is. His wife doesn't do carnivore, so she brings things into the house and he will consume them. Like if she brings a pie, she'll have a piece of it and he'll like spend the next 2 days eating it and then he goes right back to carnivore. I'd
Right.
say he's like 90% carnivore at this point. I think he'd like to be 100%, but he says he cannot control himself.
Oh.
My brother-in-law actually did carnivore and he lost, I want to say 45 pounds doing it.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Were you going?
I was gonna say in the beginning I couldn't. We ditched everything out of the house, and our oldest boy brings in a few little things now, but after almost 2 years, you get used to it.
Right.
But in the beginning, I couldn't. If they were here, I were eating them.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, Scott's never been like a binge eater. He liked sugary coffee. Like he loved his white chocolate mocha from Starbucks and he loved Kit Kats and donuts. Those are like his three things. He
Right.
didn't understand if he brought ice cream in the house, how I could eat half a gallon of ice cream in like 2 days. It's like,
Oh,
if it's there, I'm going to eat it. Like I'm just like an absolute sugar carb fiend.
yes.
Or I guess should say I was, because now I can walk by the bakery and stuff and not even look twice.
Doesn't even phase you.
No, right to
That's
the meat.
yes. And well, speaking of that, you had said that you literally had cake one day and then jumped into carnivore the very next day. What made you decide to go from one to the next? I mean, just next day like that.
The biggest turning point for me was when I was in the emergency room. I had a
Mhm,
kidney stone. I actually thought I was dying. This is before they actually did all the tests and stuff. I mean, I can tolerate pain pretty well.
mhm,
And I just remember I was laying in the hospital bed wailing, and it occurred to me that these poor people next door probably literally thought I was dying because I didn't care who heard me. I was just absolutely in so much pain. It it just happened in those moments. I realized I am here because I got myself here by every choice I ever made about what I put in my mouth. Nobody forced me to do anything. Nobody, held a pew pew to my head and said, Amanda, you have to eat this. I made these choices. And my
mhm,
husband was there, Scott, and I remember looking at him thinking, "God, this has gotta be miserable for him." He listens to me almost every night say how I wish I didn't wake up the next morning. I was so depressed and anxious and miserable and just wanting to die. And now he's in the emergency room with me as I'm like wailing in pain. And in those moments, I just realized how selfish I had been,
mhm,
that I was putting my wants and my desires over his needs by choosing to eat bad. I got so overweight that I just stopped being able to participate in life or honestly do basic house stuff. He had to do it all. And I just realized, you know what? I did pretty good on keto. I kind of fell off keto because I used keto sweeteners and that just led to a downhill spiral.
mhm.
And I realized too, I am a binge eater. I'm a sugar carb addict. It's just like an alcoholic. Alcoholics can't just have a little bit of alcohol, they have to abstain. And if I can't control my carbs and sugar, then I can't have them. Putting two and two together, I just realized, forget this. I'm done. I'm done being miserable and being this albatross around my husband's neck. And
Mhm,
next day we got back home and we threw everything except a few random condiments
mhm.
out of the refrigerator, emptied the cabinets. The only thing we didn't throw away was our baking stuff. But I remember vividly at 6 months, I'm like, you know what? I'm never going to bake anything again. Let's get rid of that flour and almond flour and that white sugar and stuff. And we got rid of all of that. So we have nothing in our house that is not carnivore now.
That's awesome. That really, that was actually going to be my next question was if you had ever done the ketogenic diet. But you kind of just
Yeah.
answered.
I did Atkins when I was younger. Probably when I was about 16, 17, I was doing Atkins and I did pretty decent with it, but none of it ever addressed the fact that I was just a binge eater. And the thing with carnivore, it's carnivore in conjunction with reading Jordan Peterson's 12 rules. I
Mhm.
realized I was using the sugars and carbs as an emotional crutch to literally eat my emotions so I didn't have to deal with them.
Right.
But the irony is as I ate them, I just put them on the outside of my body versus actually internalizing and dealing with them.
Mhm.
So between the Jordan Peterson book and carnivore and not having it in my face, I realized I
Right.
was using it how I was using the food.
Right. And I know in the whole keto carnivore realm, there's this whole moderator and abstainer. And I think it's really important that
Mhm.
and awesome that you've figured out that what suits you and how you're going to be
Mhm.
successful in your journey. And I think that's really important because some people, you know, there's a lot of mean people out there. There's mean people who are saying, things to people who do carnivore, keto, or any diet that anyone's on. Um, but just to know whether or not you're an abstainer or a moderator and be able to
Yeah.
enjoy.
And there are plenty of people who can moderate, and if they can, all the power to them. I
Right,
can't. Like, I just I know I can't, and so knowing that, I think it is vital. And I think that's part of my sister, my middle sister, she can moderate. Like, sometimes she'll eat a little too much of sugar, but she's a moderator between that and exercise, she fine. Or she would have been my size too.
right, right. If somebody was just starting out doing carnivore, is there one specific piece of advice that you would give aside from don't trust a fart?
I made a whole video on, like, you're gonna expect to go to the bathroom, like, don't freak out. Um, Honestly, remove the stuff out of your house. I think if you just wanna try it for 30 days, go through your cabinet, your refrigerators, put it in a basket, and give it to a friend, like, say, "Please keep this at your house." Because at the end of the 30 days, if they follow it, they're not gonna want it back. Like, they are not. They're just gonna feel so much better, but having it out of the face, it's so easy to walk to the cabinet and get a couple scoops of peanut butter. It is a different story when you have to get your car keys, get dressed, and then go to the store and get it. It's a lot more effort. So the small things like putting these barriers in front of us for our issues, take the food out of our face. I think that's the number one thing.
I could not agree more because
Mhm.
to get my keys and get in my car and go somewhere to get something just because of an emotion that I'm feeling and wanting to eat them. Um,
Usually by the time you get to the store, you've worked through it or
mhm,
at least more calm about whatever the emotion is, and it gives you time to think.
right. I 100% agree with that.
Mhm.
Um,
It's easy for me to moderate because of her. We have each other.
Yeah,
Does Now your husband, is he on carnivore with you?
he is.
So that makes
He
it
lost yeah, it makes it so much easier. He lost his 27 pounds he had to lose with, like, the first 4 months.
like, that's awesome though. It is,
Yeah, yeah. Oh, he's much healthier. His testosterone's, like, 2.5 times higher than what it was,
right?
because he actually had low testosterone. Uh,
Wow.
for an actual medical reason. But yeah, without taking any exogenous testosterone injections, because we actually thought he was going to,
Mhm.
it is now 60% higher than most men his age.
Really?
Yeah.
Th- That's awesome. And he's got to be feeling way better, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He does not drink Starbucks anymore. He just has either a little heavy cream or a little butter in his coffee because he is a coffee fiend.
Yes.
And he eats his steak and he's happy.
I never got into the coffee. I wish I could.
I love
Everyone enjoys it so much and talks about it all the time. It just don't taste as good as it smells.
it. Yes, it does.
It I found there's all sorts of different blends and
Mhm.
types. Like, I don't like my brother and sister-in-law, they drink a dark roast. Ooh, boy. I mean, I like most coffee. Ooh, it is terrible. They love it. I like the lighter blends. So if you are not a strong, like, coffee connoisseur, if you start with a light blend, I find they're so much tastier.
That might be his problem because I am a dark roast kind of girl.
Oh, well, that would be why I do not like dark roast.
It's so bitter, it's like chewing an aspirin.
Yes. Yes.
I love it.
I think I know the answer. Aside from weight loss, what is your biggest non-scale victory?
Uh Honestly, people probably would be really embarrassed to say this, but being able to wipe my own butt. I'm not kidding. I got to 360 pounds. I struggled. I struggled taking a shower, and the lowest point of my entire life was having to ask my husband to wash my butt because I couldn't do it. That honestly makes everything pale in comparison. The depression would be like the number 2, but that low point in my life and, like, man,
Yeah.
10 out of 10, the best feeling ever. I know that that's very TMI, but
I figured it was gonna be kicking the walker to the curb.
oh, Yeah, no, the walker was definitely a big one, but honestly, because it's like going into the bathroom, you're obviously by yourself, and then having to like deal with that, you're confronted with nothing but your choices in life.
Mm,
And how many times a day do people go to the bathroom on standard American diet? Two or three, right? So it's like this constant reminder of
Right.
what I viewed as a failure in my life.
Mhm.
yeah, that's
It's important to talk about though. I mean, I know as
Oh
I
yeah.
watching your journey, most of the time I'm at work and I have an earbud in and I listen, but there's been several times where you talk about things that might seem like it's TMI, but there's been times where I've sat at my desk with tears in my eyes while I'm trying to
Mhm.
work because I'm listening to something that is so relatable.
Yeah.
It's so important to have that.
Yeah.
So I applaud you and I thank you for sharing that for sure.
Thank you.
I do. I like when you lost your first 100 pounds, that video in particular, I bawled my eyes out at work listening to you because I knew you were so proud and so happy. And I could just feel that through your video. And that's what's so great, I think, about your channel.
well, it's
Oh.
hard to top that, Amanda.
I'm sorry.
I, you know, one of the things I've never talked about, I remember one time in the car pulling up to a stoplight, I dropped something, I don't know, probably food or something in the passenger seat. And I remember leaning over to get it. And belly's in the way, and I felt a pop, and I was like, "Oh Lord, where are we at?" You know what I mean? Is this where we're at? And then I remember it like being a struggle to in the shower. I was 315 for 314 pounds. I remember it was hard to like dry my feet and just little things like that. I
Yeah.
mean, just little things that everybody, a normal person, takes for granted. Like,
Or
Yeah.
and
And
wait, yeah.
you know, I don't know. It's just stuff
it's
makes you sad and realize that you've got to do something, but you don't know what to do.
Yeah. It's the small things because they are the things that we take for granted. Being able to wash your feet, being able to put on your shoes without holding your breath. But
Right,
it's a constant reminder when you get physically to that point, everything you do is just a struggle. Oh my gosh.
right.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Um, and I know that you went from using a walker to bike riding and walking 5 miles.
Yeah.
If old Amanda would have said, you know what, less than a year, give me less than a year, and you'll be doing these things, would you have ever believed it?
Oh my God, no. I would have laughed in my own face, like, okay, right.
That's gonna happen, right?
Mhm.
That's what we tell
Because
ourselves.
I was just when I was in such a dark place, like mentally and
Mhm.
emotionally, but I was in such a dark place that light didn't even exist for me. I have no other way to explain it. I saw no hope. The only reason I didn't commit suicide is I worked at a hospital in Minneapolis years and years ago, and I had a patient that she actually tried to commit suicide by shooting herself in the chest with a shotgun, and she failed.
Mm,
And when and every time like I even remotely thought about it, I thought about that patient and I'm like, God, my luck, that's what I would do is I'd fail and then I'd be a vegetable or some else kind of burden on my husband. And that is the only thing that stopped me.
right.
And it's just it's a terrible place to be and you cannot see any light, you can't see any way out.
Mm,
It just it's the worst place to be.
it
It's
really is.
hopeless.
And the diet that the doctors tell you, that's not sustainable. That only works for a few weeks, and then you just
Yeah.
go back to you actually end up worse, it seems like, than where you were to
Yeah.
begin with.
Right,
Yeah. The whole eat less, move more.
right.
And the funny thing is as you start to move around more, you want to eat more. Like the body wants to consume more calories, but then you're restricting and it's just like this. I think it just leads to yo-yo dieting.
Mm,
That's all it ever did to me. And it's pretty much what pushed me to get to the way I was. Just this constant yo-yoing back forth, losing some, gaining more, losing some, gaining even more, and just
Now, when you are hungry, what is your favorite go-to meal now?
Ribeye with butter.
We don't get to have it very much just because of a family and the price of ribeye.
Mhm.
We our go-to is actually burgers, but we would definitely love to have ribeye on a daily basis.
I eat because I had someone make a comment. They're like, "God, that's got to be so expensive." But it's like, I mean, it is. Don't get me wrong. When you have a family and kids and stuff, it's completely different. But there's just the two of us.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I eat one ribeye a day with a little bit of butter, and that is all I eat most days. So,
Mhm.
and as much as I'd love to afford grass-fed beef, we do Costco, and we lucked up and got like 60 or 70 ribeyes on sale, which made them like 10.50 a pound from Costco.
Hmm,
That's awesome.
Mhm.
That completely set me up for the next question.
awesome.
Um, some people might get deterred from carnivore because of the price, right?
Mhm.
They think that it costs more. But I was going to ask what your opinion was. If you think carnivore is more expensive or
It can be. I think it absolutely can be. There's this disagreement within the community about you have to do grass fed or, the hormones and stuff from like the USDA meat and stuff. And my opinion is you do what you can, you buy what you can. I've had people mention they buy hot dogs.
yeah,
Are they is it the best option? No, but is it a lot better than carbs and sugar? Heck yes. Um, I've seen some people like they eat like the Wagyu beef and stuff. I mean, good God, that stuff is like 50 or $60 a pound or something. I don't know. It's like really expensive.
right.
But we've also, I mean, Scott and I do burgers and things, and you can easily, I eat a pound-ish of meat a day. We
Mhm.
got some 80/20 because we add more fat to our burgers. We got some 80/20 meat for like 3.99 a pound on sale. So one day of eating cost me 3.99. You
Right.
know, it it just requires a little bit more effort. And I always encourage people, if you are on a budget, then all you need to do is look at the online sales paper, plan out what you're going to buy, and you buy what's on sale. Like you don't get to be super picky, but you can easily do carnivore for cheaper than the standard American diet.
Right. May not be the cleanest, but you're definitely doing better
Yeah.
um, than the carbs and
Yeah.
sugar.
And not having to buy condiments. I think the biggest thing is we don't throw food out anymore. I can't tell you how many dang avocados I've bought and then threw out because, well, they weren't ripe and then I forgot about them and I threw out a whole entire bag of avocados.
That's so funny that you just said that because you can cut this out, but because it has nothing to do. But I just bought squeezable avocado. I could totally do carnivore, but I like my olives, my pickles, and my avocado. Those are like the three main things for
You
me.
know, I feel like if it's just a few things and you don't react to them, I think all the power to you. I mean, really, because if I think there are plenty of people who probably can tolerate vegetables okay, like they do fine with them. But there's people like me that the oxalates and everything else, I react to them. I
Right.
hope one day I can add a little bit of something back in, but yeah, I think ketovore is just as good as carnivore if you can tolerate it. Yeah.
But squeezable avocado? Come on. You don't have to wait. Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
That's pretty brilliant.
Well, yeah, because as soon as you open an avocado,
It's
it
brown.
it might be brown before you take a bite.
If someone is feeling alone or stressed or deterred or afraid of starting this new lifestyle, what piece of advice would you give to them?
Find a community that you can reach out to and ask questions. It is very scary. It's very scary to admit to others by asking a question that you don't know.
Mm.
But there are tons and tons of amazing communities out there that my dog. There are tons and tons of amazing communities out there that it's no judgment. Like I started off at 360 pounds. You could be 500 pounds, you could be 200 pounds. It doesn't matter. Assume other people know something you don't. And with that thought process, everybody knows something that we don't know. So being open to it, I,
Mhm.
I think that's the biggest thing is finding a community. and asking questions. I mean, the big thing about carnivore, ketovore, low carb is it is all a personal journey. What works for me may not work for the person next to me, or maybe they have to be stricter or they don't have to be as strict. Each
Mhm.
of our bodies are different. So finding what works for you is the biggest thing.
100%.
So we started this channel in the beginning because we continuously messed up. We fell off. Anyway, it was an accountability thing.
Yeah.
Was that your motivation for starting the channel, do you think, or am I wrong?
Um, a, a part of it was, but at the same time, so I've been in physical therapy for 10 years. I don't see patients anymore. Um, when we moved to Washington, I did not transfer my license. Anywho, when I first started, I love neuro patients, stroke patients, those kinds of things. And being able to help them get them back to walking, God, it gave me my why in life. And then as the years progressed, then it became more about the money in the sense of you have to bill by the minute and like just the corporations and stuff and all the bureaucratic red tape. It became it sucked the life out of me versus enjoying it. And a few years ago, I just realized I wasn't enjoying it anymore. My why in life is I want to make tomorrow better than it is today. And I discovered something like I started my YouTube 2 weeks into doing carnivore, and I realized all this suffering and all this pain that I've gone through in my life, I could use to help somebody else
Mm.
by showing that at the lowest low that I could be, that, if I'm here, then someone else, 10 steps above me or wherever else can find some inspiration on my journey. That was it. Like I can use all this pain and suffering to make a difference in the world. Okay, I can now look back at my life and not have an ounce of regret that I got as fat as I did because helping others like that was my biggest motivation.
That just gave me chills.
All right. And before we wrap up, so you started at 360 and just curious, what are you now?
I am.
Yes, I'm at 255 as of Monday. So I've
So
lost 105 pounds. I have lost, oh gosh, I haven't looked, 79 inches. Yeah, I think 79 inches off my entire body. Um, I just got a new pair of jeans. The last pair of jeans I wore or bought were size 26, and I now fit into size 16 jeans.
awesome.
Yeah, that's
So awesome.
when I put on smaller clothes, I think that means more to me than it does when I see the number on the scale.
Yes. I agree. I agree. Because I picked up a pair of 16 and 18 because we went to the store, and I'm like, I'm gonna try the smaller ones first. I actually think I could have fit into 14s, but they would have been more snug than I like them. And I put the 16s on. I'm like, oh, I don't even have to try those stupid 18s on.
Yes. It's flipping awesome.
We would have bought the 14s too.
Yes.
We've spent so much money on clothes, and for the first time in my life, I enjoy going to buy clothes because before I just wore the same. I just found a shirt that fit, and I bought like 5 of them.
Yeah.
It's yeah. It definitely changes your perspective on different things and wanting to do different things. Um,
For
and
sure.
I know that you're going on the upcoming keto cruise, which is exciting. Um, and I also know that you've done a meetup recently and plan on doing another one. Do you want to talk about that real
Yes. Yeah.
quick?
So this Saturday, which is the 18th, we will be doing a meetup at Lake Padden, Washington at 10 o'clock in the morning. It's just going to be a walk. I wanted it to offer for people who, sometimes eating out's too expensive.
Mhm.
We will also, starting April, we're going to continue this every month. We are either going to do another restaurant in April. We haven't set the date yet. Or we were thinking about doing getting a pavilion and kind of grilling at a park so people could walk and bike if they wanted to, but we haven't quite decided on that yet.
I think that's awesome because you're including movement and not
Yeah.
just food. And I think that's
Mhm.
a great idea. And
Yeah.
Are there others out there in Washington that have been organizing anything, or are you like the only one that you know of?
I think more south. I looked, I think in Seattle, and I didn't see anything. That's actually the reason that I decided to do this because I didn't see anything in our area.
Right.
Um, we had 26 people, 24, 26 people attend our last meetup. And
Uh,
I implore you, if you guys don't have anything local, you should do it. It was a bit of work to kind of like figure out the ropes at first, but man, it was just amazing to see people, like mine, trying to encourage each other and kind of getting them connected. It was fantastic.
Right. That community aspect is extremely important for us.
Yeah, we love community, and
Um,
the community is what keeps us still going.
definitely,
Mhm.
definitely. Aside from, feeling better and losing weight.
Yeah.
But no, um, I really, really appreciate you taking out time in your busy schedule and talking with us. And I cannot thank you enough.
So, other than Carnivorous Me on YouTube, are you on any other social media?
Yes, I am on Twitter. It's the same thing it's at Carnivorous Me One, Instagram at Carnivorous Me One, and then Facebook, although I'm not too often on Facebook, more Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.
We will post the links to find Amanda on Carnivorous Me on YouTube, as well as her Instagram and Twitter in the comments below.
And thank you guys for watching. And don't forget to follow her if you haven't already.
Yes, you will not be disappointed. Okay, thanks so much for watching, you guys. If you have not already checked out Amanda at Carnivorous Me, please do so now. We'll put a link down below where you can find her, as well as on a couple other social media platforms. But she is an amazing person with an inspirational story to tell and documenting her journey. And I hope you enjoy it as much as I do and as much as James does. She is a sweetheart of a person and living the carnivorous way of eating.
Chances are you've heard of her, but if you somehow hadn't stumbled across her,
Check her out.
yep, and go back and watch from the beginning because, yeah,
Her,
what took her months and months to accomplish, you can watch it in a day.
yeah,
And it's amazing.
it is.
See you guys soon.